With the Clan War Leagues just around the corner, let's rank 4 of the strongest Town Hall 13 attacks that you'll want to use to guarantee 3 stars. Let's start here at number 4, the Triple Clone Hydra. This is a really strong attack, and for the most part, you always want to start by funneling. Whenever you're looking at a base, this attack strategy works on a plethora of different types. More specifically, as long as you can funnel one side of the base and do the same thing on the other, you are completely fine. So in this case, your step 1 is to funnel one side of the base. In this case, bring in super wall breakers, or if you don't want to bring super wall breakers and bring regular wall breakers, you can do so as well. All you're doing is just creating one side of the funnel with your heroes, and on the other side with something like an Electro Dragon or even a couple of regular dragons. But overall, your step 2 is after you've created the funnel on either side, you can then fully send in all of your troops and your siege machines into the base. Of course, you are using the battle blimp for this, otherwise you wouldn't really get most from your triple clone. Usually you can bring a rage spell to boost your dragons and dragon riders, but you mainly want to use your Grand Warden ability. And this is really important specifically because you want to know clone spell placement. Usually you want to make sure that the clone spells are being used away from the town hall unless a sweeper is blowing them into it and there's a tornado trap. You want to make sure that you're getting the most from it. So usually you want to place the clone spells away from the town hall. In this case, he gets a good amount of value from the cloned balloons. Unfortunately, the sweeper blows them back into the tornado. You do need to keep that in mind, but as long as you're able to have some of the cloned balloons go in 2 different directions, as long as 2 groups can stay alive, you should be fine. The rest of this attack, though, comes down to using your back-end Royal Champion. Using her in order to help clear through a given area and just make sure that she's able to still swiftly move through is incredibly important. You do want to provide her with as much support as possible. At the end of the day, you should still have a large amount of your dragons still alive, and you should be able to get a very consistent 3-star. It is a really strong attack if you are fairly new or you have some lower level troops and heroes. This is a really good army that will work most of the time. As long as you have your dragons and maybe your dragon riders up, this is going to be a good army for you. But however, there are of course some better armies like the Queen Charge Hybrid. The third strongest attack is the Queen Charge Hybrid. This attack strategy works incredibly well. However, in this case, the attacker is going with a little bit of a different approach. An early siege barrack is okay. It's not super interesting, but one of the tips I will have for this is the reason why you bring the king. You do not want something like a mortar to lock onto your siege barrack. You need to make sure that you're protecting it from any damage or else it's going to pop earlier. In this case, I would highly recommend never to use the siege barrack like this. And more specifically, don't just use the king just to funnel the queen. This is asking for a lot of the things that you could have used to support your hybrid is now being used to support your queen, when realistically it should be the opposite. For the most part, you do want to make sure that you're bringing balloons to look for any seeking air mines. It's really important that you do this because you want to make sure that you are keeping your healers alive, especially since you're only bringing 5 of them. So you do want to make sure that you're using a rage spell, especially when you're dealing with a lot of heavy fire from CC, defenses, or even the queen. Now, usually my step 2 would be to funnel the other side, mainly with the siege barrack and or barbarian king, so you're able to provide more value and more consistent pathing with your hybrid. In this case, your step 3 would then be sending your hybrid. Overall, you've created two sides of the funnel. This one was done by a baby dragon, this side done by the queen, so then you're able to start moving yourself in with your hybrid. Overall, you want to make sure that you're using a heal spell early. That should be your first thing. Especially going through a scatter shot, you will need to use your first heal spell, though I would highly recommend using your Grand Warden ability right after, or you can save it for after your second heal spell. You just want to make sure that you are still moving yourself through. You can use a rage spell if you have an extra one of it, but overall you do want to make sure that you're still protecting your queen, keeping her alive with any rage spells you may have, and you've got free spells to help deal with other defenses, or if you want to go ahead and protect your royal champion, which can help you quite a bit. So those are just things that you do want to consider. This was not the best showcase of a hybrid, but of course, it can still work. There are just a lot of mistakes that you don't want to make that the attacker did here, but overall, you can still get a lot of really good value from this, and you can easily get the triple with the Queen Charge hybrid. Just make sure that you follow the steps that I did and not what the attacker did, so you can get a very simple 3-star. If you made it this far in the video, consider subscribing and ringing the bell so you don't miss any quality tips and trick videos on different attacks like this. The Queen Charge Dragon Riders is the second strongest Town Hall 13 attack that you'll want to use. To start this off, your step 1 is to funnel your Queen Charge. You have a couple ways of doing this, from using the very cheap Baby Dragon and Balloon combo to using something like a Yeti or 2 Yetis in a battle blimp. This can clear a single target Inferno, multi-Inferno, Town Hall, or even the scatter shots. So those are just things that you do want to consider. But your next step is to start using your charge. Mainly you want to charge in for the Town Hall. This is such a big defense that you need to get rid of it. But alongside that, you should be trying to remove the enemy CC. That's another very important thing. Now you either want to go in for the Archer Queen or the Royal Champion, or you can get both. All three give you some really solid value. Now overall, your next major step is to use your King and your Royal Champion. Since your Archer Queen is already going to be able to get some really good value from the charge, whether that's going in a bit deeper or even going into the core for an Inferno, Eagle, or Scatter, you want to start with your Barbarian King. Now, of course, one of the biggest things is sometimes his pathing can be a little screwed up. I mean, like this right here, after using his ability, he just all of a sudden just decides to go on the outside instead of going in for the RC or anything. So I couldn't make this up if I wanted to. But overall, you want to make sure that you are getting rid of either the Archer Queen or Royal Champion. In this case, the Archer Queen was really easy to remove with our Archer Queen, and the Royal Champion in this case can be removed by the Headhunter and our Royal Champion. So that really gives you enough momentum to where at this stage, you now have very simple pathing into the base. You can use a Stone Slammer since you don't need to use the Battle Blimp. Now, in order to keep all of your Dragon Riders alive, chances are you do not want to send them in for the Town Hall. The main reason is because usually that's where a lot of heavy fire is. So that's why you want to really provide so much support from the Queen Charge. Charging in for the Town Hall is better than using a Battle Blimp. You never want to chuck a Battle Blimp to the Town Hall unless stated otherwise. Making sure that you're able to still swiftly move through using the free spells and maybe even a leftover rage to provide more support for the Dragon Riders is really important. Now, the other thing that you do need to understand is cleanup. You will time fail with this attack if you do not place your minions right after your Dragon Riders. Dragon Riders are guaranteed to get through some defenses early on. So using your minions early is really good because then you have cleanup and you're not getting a time fail. Outside of that, this is a really strong army and you will totally want to use this. This is by far one of the strongest attacks in the game. You should not leave it alone as it is one of the strongest in the game. One of the strongest attacks in Clash of Clans and at Town Hall 13 is the Blizzard Lalo. Now you can start off with a Sui hero. So usually your step 1 is to actually funnel your Sui hero. Depending on if you're starting with the Sui hero or not, you always want to funnel. So in this case, funneling the Sui hero with a Yeti and also with a Baby Dragon allows you to swiftly move into the base. You want to have very easy and consistent movement so that that way you're able to enter into the base with the super wall breakers. You can use Headhunters to deal with the enemy Barbarian King if you're having to deal with that early on with your heroes. But the main goal of your Sui hero is to remove air targeting defenses, create funneling, and also remove either the Queen or RC or even both. That way you can then use your Blizzard. Your Blizzard can already deal with the enemy CC, and all you really need to do is mainly look for some pretty good value. Funneling is always really important, that's the purpose of the Blizzard, but if you can get rid of something like a Scatter, Town Hall, enemy CC, those are the type of things that you really want to look for. And thus, it will help you get a good and consistent 3-star. It will make it a bit more consistent for you. Now, this is where you get into the hardest part, the lava loon portion. It's very simple, not really extremely difficult, so let's slow it down so you guys can really readily understand it. So your first group should be going into the very first air defense that is available through a bunch of different defenses. You can have the RC move in with your balloons, but you want to make sure that you have one group that goes in for this and another group that kind of funnels out certain defenses, but then starts to merge together. A haste spell to move the balloons even closer to the air defense and scatter shot is really important. Your next major goal is to then start another group of a lava hound, and you want to use balloons there to also funnel them out so they're able to then work themselves in together. You've also got another haste spell that you're going to be using to get your balloons even closer. And again, the same rules apply. If there are defenses on the outside, you're mainly using those balloons so you're able to then encompass them to move across. Using the Grand Warren ability is really important because you're able to protect all of your balloons as you move through. So usually using a haste spell is really smart. And if you got any free spells, you can use those on defenses like scatters and also air defenses to make it a little bit easier for your balloons to get through them. Outside of that, you should be able to get through it because you'll have a large amount of balloons. Your Royal Champion can move in with your balloons and provide more support, or you could use it with your heroes to get even more value. Now keep in mind, you can also have the minions. Minions are really important. You're gonna time fail. Similarly to a Queen Charge Dragon Riders, you want to use the minions right after a certain area of the Lalo so you're able to get the 3-star and you're not time failing. That is how you can use this attack for success, and that is why it is one of the strongest, if not the strongest, in the entire game and the strongest at Town Hall 13. So if you have made it this far in the video, consider subscribing and ringing the bell. Make sure to check out any of my previous content right over here, and also make sure to go ahead and use my creator code, Corrupt. It'd be greatly appreciated. And I'll be catching you in the next video. Corrupt, signing out.